That's $1.9 billion. Let me finish, David. That's $1.9 billion.
That is a bunch of BS.
Right now, as a right, he can build 500,000 square feet.
Bunch of BS.
Commissioner, Commissioner.
If I could finish, please. If I could finish, please. That's 425,000 square feet of sellable land. Now, when I asked the director of sales of the Paragon, I asked him, what is the average square foot value that you're selling right now? And that is the closest comp to the area. And he told me it's $4,500 a square foot. When I take $425,000 times 4,500, that's $1.9 billion. Let me finish, David. That's $1.9 billion, okay?
All right.
Now, if you're telling me that the hotel is going to cost you, I don't know, $200 million, and I don't know, I'm assuming the price per square foot for your residential towers is going to be around, I don't know, $700-800 a square foot at the high end, all in. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of profit. I wanted to get the property in a park-like appearance as soon as possible because this could sit for the next 5 years potentially with no construction. I mean, we could be getting so much more. Yeah, thank you.
All day he
Look,
tortured
I think-
everybody, and now he's
excuse
very
me, Kristen,
upset
I have
about
the floor.
density increases.
It's unfair for you to hijack. It's clear that my colleagues think that the Deauville is a public benefit. Great, because look, let's be honest. I think today we've all realized that we're in the business of selling zoning. It's as simple as that. This is a transaction.
Recently, because of the actions taken by some of my colleagues. So, this is a bit of a self-inflicted wound, and I wonder what the conversation would be about the merits of this project were that not this big carrot, because it is a huge carrot to try to extinguish this very problematic use in a residential neighborhood which does not provide appropriate services for the very people it's supposed to be providing services for. And that makes this a very complicated dilemma because you worry about the precedent being set. I think everybody agrees it's a beautiful looking project.
I think it's hilarious that the fines being paid is labeled as a public benefit. We're giving away. We're apparently in the business of selling zoning and height and FAR. That's what we've made clear today all day. Then, you know what? Let's get the best deal out of this. Let's not grandstand on issues. If we're going to be in the business of selling FAR and height, let's see what the value is. And let's get the best deal possible for our city. Five Park public benefits was just shy of $100 million in public benefits. Okay?
Feel that this, I'm
If
so happy.
If you are Commissioner Rosen-Gonzalez, if you're concerned, you can certainly vote no on the Deauville and this project if you really mean it. Like, there's nothing stopping you from voting no and saying if you really mean it, then do that.
Area.
It's like a brown no. I know you
Yeah,
know because
but I just want to be careful, Commissioner. I don't want to say anything wrong. I apologize. But
I think you said
right,
100 million before, right?
it's way over 100 million, Commissioner. It could be close to over 200 million. But
Okay,
I don't want to reference.
Thank you. I just want, and I want my colleagues to know, and I'm not trying to be difficult, okay? And I understand that, and I'm not sure, look, I think things in a different way. Now, if there's 6 of you that want to say, look, we don't care, we just want the Deauville back, and $7.5 million for the Byron Carlisle, then that's up to you guys. But I think we have an opportunity to get a lot more. This is going to set certainly a precedent in the neighborhood. We're going to be talking later today about another project.
I'm so happy.
That it's going to be offering a public benefit, and we don't really know what value we're giving away. Hold on. So you're telling me that the reason why we need to double the height from 200 to 380 feet and double the FAR from 3 to 5.5 is simply to build a replica?
So there are 2 reasons for it. Number one is
hold on. So it makes economic sense to build a replica.
the Deauville replication is a liability to the redevelopment of this project today.
I think once this gets built, people are going to say, who approved that? And they're already doing that for Five Park. Okay? People don't want to see those type of buildings. And we're getting two of them. Five Park's one, this is two. And look, I understand that you're in a position right now where you want to get this project done. And I get it, David. I understand. But look, I have a fundamental issue.
If it were
with-
presented to me today, I'm supporting this project, and I will continue to support this project, as I have enumerated in my emails, which I shared with you, many, many, many reasons to support this project.
Just look at the Convention Center Hotel right outside of here. It's been sitting there forever. At the option of the City Commission, one of the two required hearings can be held before the Planning Board. Based upon the foregoing, we have asked Commissioner Bott to make a motion, $7.5 million in cash from the Byron Carlisle, or for the Byron Carlisle, which, by the way, I don't even know how that happened. Not sure why the Byron Carlisle is getting $7.5 million when we have flooding, water quality, and infrastructure problems in North Beach. I also see as part of this public benefit a small grass swale being labeled as a park. I think that's kind of funny. I also see 150 parking spaces on paid public parking that we have to be tasked for maintaining and pay for. I think Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez pointed this out. I think it's hilarious that the fines being paid is labeled as a public benefit in this developer agreement. Let that sink in for a second. Fines owed to us, for some reason now, is a public benefit. Ridiculous. And by the way, remember Five Park? Everyone who was always against Five Park and who consistently says that they can see it from a certain section of North Beach. Five Park public benefits was just shy of $100 million in public benefits. Okay. And the Deauville project is double the size of Five Park. These public benefits in this development agreement don't seem like much. The ones that city staff has negotiated. So considering the potential ramifications of this project in North Beach, having staff negotiate this in the shade is a bad look for public trust. So what I suggest we do is we defer this development agreement to land use and finance and really iron out the details of exactly what a real public benefit is. And not only that, but I think we should also hire an economic real estate consultant to tell us exactly in value how much we are giving away with these proposals. So is it 100 million? Is it 200 million? If we're going to be granting $500 million in extra profit, certainly $7.5 million to the Byron Carlisle and a couple other these little ancillary projects, doesn't seem like it's a fair deal. So I think we have a great opportunity to negotiate this deal in the sunshine at a committee where it's more appropriate than a city commission meeting and discuss exactly what is a public benefit. I want to know when I walk into a negotiation, what is it that I'm giving away? I certainly would like to know. And who knows, maybe I'll be convinced that if the public benefits are better than this, maybe I'll vote for it. Maybe I'll be okay with the project. But right now, I don't think a $7 million swale, 150 parking spots, and a few other smaller projects are worth potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in sale of an FAR and height. So, look, this is going to set the bar for zoning in the good precedent where we're getting the best deal possible and we know what we're giving away.
Commissioner Bott and Commissioner Rosen Gonzalez.
Since my character was impugned in your presentation, I would like to just state for the record what I did and why I did it. People may or may not know that I fought like hell to try to get the Deauville saved from the demolition box, or whatever that little plunger is that you use. I guess it's probably digital now. I worked very hard. I put together a dossier on the Morellos, so you don't need to lecture me on the notion of them being bad actors. Were it not for David Martin coming in to take over part of the ownership of that parcel, we would be sitting with a mud pit still, and probably forevermore. So the fact that we are rewarding terrible actors with a pot of gold is a very inconvenient truth. It's one that doesn't sit well with me or with anybody else, I'm sure. But they own the land, and that is the fact. So let's take that out of the story. What I did was to make one of the two required public hearings, one at the planning board. The commission have two opportunities rather than one opportunity in the planning board, and so that's what we did. So if I made a mistake, I made a mistake. To assign any kind of shady, manipulative tactics, which is what you are doing, is comical. And
I just simply read an email, Commissioner Bott. I simply read an email where it
Yeah,
says
yeah,
that
yeah, that's
they
true.
requested
Excuse me, I'm
that
not-
you make a motion
right, but
and pass it
you
to
read
the
an
planning
email
board.
that you selected out of I don't know how many and highlighted a few words out of that email. So don't tell me it was just, oh, I'm just reading an email. You are making suggestions that people who are not paying close attention to are going to glom onto, and that's fine. That's how you operate, and that's
I'll let the
cool.
email stand
Commissioner
for
Suarez,
itself.
I will let the
please
record ascribe malicious motives to that. Go right ahead, because and anybody who knows me and knows what I stand for and how I operate know it.